Afternoon, good evening. This is Pastor Niran here for our Tuesday morning broadcast. Thank you so much. I hope that you are keeping warm. And sorry, I was having some technical difficulties, but I believe that everything should be sorted out now and we can get started. Well, so can you believe this is the month of February? And this is February the 3rd. And we're so excited to be able to come to you again and share. The title of my podcast is called Purposeful Living. And we are supposed to live our life with intention in mind. Please do me a big favor. Share this video, like it. I'd love to hear your comments as well. Let's go on this journey together and really impact our world and help people to understand the reason why they are here. Many people are living their lives and they don't know the reason why they're here. Right? They have settled to a life of just working, and they've settled to a life of just getting by. And one of my missions is to help people to discover their purpose, the reason why God has called them to be here. There is a reason why you're here. You are not just here for the sake of being here. You are here to accomplish the very purpose that God has had in mind for you. And that's why the title of today's message is You're Created with Intention. It's very important for you to understand that, hey, God intended for me to be here. I'm not just here by accident. I remember when I was in high school, and there was a friend of mine at that time. He saw himself as an accident. But I want you to understand today, it doesn't matter how you came, you are not an accident. And if I was in church, I would tell you to say after me, I am not an accident, right? You are not an accident. You are not a mistake. And you are not just, you just came out. No. God has you in mind. Before he created you, there was something in the God's mind that he had before he created you. With all, like I shared the last broadcast we have, with all the billions of people on the face of the earth, not one person has your DNA. So that means when God created you, he had an intention. And it's important for you to discover what that intention is. And many a times we fall into the trap of doing what everybody else is doing. So everybody else is studying to become a doctor. So you're studying to become a doctor. Or everyone else is studying to become an engineer. You're studying to become an engineer. No, you're not supposed to do what everyone else is doing. You're supposed to try to find out what was God's intention when he created me. And the intention precede your creation. That means there was something in God's mind before he created you, before he fashioned you. And it's important for you to line up yourself with that very intention. The mistake that we can all make is that we allow time to pass. We allow a year to pass. We allow 5 years to pass. We allow 10 years to pass. And we don't lay a hold of who we are supposed to be because we have not discovered God's own intention. And some of the mistakes that we make is that we go by the intention of our parents, right? Of course, our parents are there to guide us. But I believe it's the ultimate is to you to discover what was God's intention when he created you. So I will share from my story. When I was a young person, I wanted to become a mechanical engineer. That was my goal, right? I knew that from age 16. I don't know why, but I wanted to become a mechanical engineer. So what did I do? What I did, I registered at the school that had the course that I wanted to study. In the process of doing it, I had challenges. I found it difficult. I mean, right? But then halfway on my final year of studying mechanical engineering in Georgian College in Barrie, Ontario, that's when I had an encounter with God. And when I had that encounter with God, I began to realize, oh, wow, God wants to use me in ministry. God wants to use me. Remember, I said last week, I used to think that I had no gift, but then I realized that God has given me the gift of an orator. And also, God wants to use me to preach his gospel. And that's when everything changed, right? Now, I still finished my mechanical engineering, but right after I finished, I now began to God now began to lead me to attend a Bible college, and which I did attend the Bible college. And that Bible college that I attended transformed my life to the person that you see today. And that's why I said, understand you are created with intention. So, can you imagine what my life would have been? Now, don't get me wrong, I still used my certificate to work, but the times when I was working, I was bored. I was like, oh my God. I remember I used to work, right? I would get to work maybe 6 a.m. and I would be on the assembly line and I would just work for a little bit and also look up. And only 10 minutes has passed. Man, I was like, what's going on? Right? I hated it. Right? Because it's not what God intended me to do. Whatever God intended you to do, you will find passion for it. You will love it, right? So for in my own case, I that was not my passion. And that is why it's very important for you to understand that you were created with intention, right? We live in a world that constantly tells you to compare, compete, and conform, right? In the world that we live in, they're telling you to confirm. They're telling you to compete. They're telling you to compare. They put two and two together. This one is an engineer. That one wants to be a doctor. But they don't take aside time to discover what was God's intention for creating me and let me fulfill that very intention. Can you imagine an iPhone says, you know what, I don't want to be an iPhone, I want to be a Samsung because it looks like everybody's getting a Samsung, right? Or can you imagine the Samsung say, oh my God, everybody, there's some features that iPhone has. No, it is the creator created for intention, right? And it needs to be used for that very purpose. There's a saying that when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. So a lot of times people abuse their lives because they don't know, right? They're trying to conform or they're trying to compare, right? And they're trying to compete, right? That is the world we're living in. But I'm telling you, right? You need to stay away from comparing yourself with other people. You need to stay away from competing with other people. You need to stay away from confirming, and you simply need to discover what is God's intention for you, right? And this is the truth that we should all live by. God was intentional about you. God was intentional about me. Do you know everything about you is intentional? Everything. You know, I remember when I was growing up, I'm wondering, why did God make me like, why did God make me an introvert? There's a reason why God made me an introvert, right? Everything is part of my makeup, right? So your personality, your gift, your passion, even the challenges that you face are intentional about you. So everything that you're going through right now are all a part of who God intend you to be on the face of the earth. Everything you face. I was doing an interview the other day about connecting the dots. And there was a time in my life, I think I was 16 years old, my parents would send me to go and spend some time with a pastor. And I don't know why, right? I believe that was to prepare me for what God is bringing me into, right? And I always tell everyone, God is always preparing you. If you take a look at the things that happened earlier in our life, they're all pointers to the direction at which God is leading you into. So your personality, right? So don't despise who you are. Don't despise your personality. You know, some people have a bubble personality. Some people have a loud personality. Some people have a quiet demeanor, or some people have a look, right? Don't deny who you are, because it's all part of you becoming everything that you're supposed to be. And also, don't deny your challenges. You know, in this life, we all face challenges. Everybody has their own share of challenge that we all face, right? But that is all part of you becoming. That is all part of you becoming the person that you are called to be. So they are all part of a bigger picture. Nothing about you is a waste. There is no part of you that's a waste. So imagine those days when those days as a man, you expect to go out and you expect to talk to the girls right when you go to the club. But I was very timid. I was very I was very quiet. I didn't want to do that. But then you see your friend just go there with boldness and confidence. Man, you be like, man, what's wrong with me, right? but it's not about what wrong. That's my personality, right? Now that doesn't mean I should just stay in my own shell and not push myself, right? And step out of my comfort zone. Of course, there's a place for that. But I used to look down on myself because I couldn't do what my friends are doing. But that's not how we should live our life. I believe you need to accept yourself, because God intended you to have that personality. God intended you to have that, to be like that. And don't get into the trap of doing what? Of comparing yourself with others and looking down on yourself, as we're sharing in the last discussion we had. You don't have to become someone else to matter. You need to just become you. I'm going to say it again. You don't have to become someone else, right? You just need to become you. You don't need to try to fit in. You know, we live in a world where everybody's trying to fit in. I remember when I started high school, some of my friends, right, in wanting to fit in, started smoking, and I just knew that no, that I that's not who I am, right? So you don't need to fit in to a mold. You don't need to fit in. You need to understand that you're valuable, you're special, you're made in God's image, you are loved by God, and God intended you for you to be here, and God has something great in store for your life. I want you to also understand that your voice matters, right? Your voice matters, your story matters, and your future matters. So always see yourself as I matter. I'm needed in this time. I always tell people in our church that there's a reason why you were not created 100 years ago. There's a reason why you were not created 200 years ago. The reason why you were not created at a time when Jesus walked the face of the earth. The reason why is because you were not needed then. So the fact that you are alive today is proof that you are needed in this time, in this generation. You are needed in the here and now. So you need to start saying, yes, I am needed. There's a gift in me, there's an ability in me that this world, my generation needs, that God has placed on my inside. And that's why I always tell every young person, take time to discover the treasures, the gifting, the ability that God has placed inside of you, and maximize it and use it, because everything that God has created in you, right, is meant to do what? To bless your generation. So you are here to do what? To be a blessing to generation. You're here to do what? You're here to impact your world. You're here to do what? You're there to do something great and significant with your life. You're here to do what? You're here for impact. I always tell everyone, life is not measured by dollars and cents. Life is not measured by popularity, who knows you, who doesn't know you. Life is measured by the level of your impact. What impact are you making in your life, in your generation? Right? This is my way of making my impact in my generation and the generation coming next. One of my mentors always say, impacting this generation and inspiring the next. That's the way to live. That you live your life in such a way that you are impacting this generation, your generation, and you are inspiring the next. That, oh man, I want to impact my generation the way Pastor Nira's doing it. I want to do that. That's how we're supposed to live our lives. So there will be moments when you feel lost, just like I was, right? I was trying to be like everybody else. or you feel that you're overlooked. Have you ever had that feeling where people overlook you? I remember those days when you try to when we were in trying to play basketball, and they will select the OKU, and then you're the last one, and then you come back and then you show everybody how good you are, right? So there may be times where you're overlooked. It's okay. Or there'll be times when you feel like unsure. You're not sure of what to do, right? It's okay not to be sure. But we have a God that reveals. We have a God that shows, right? So it doesn't mean you don't lack purpose. And just like I was saying my last podcast, right? It doesn't mean you lack purpose. It just means you are still discovering it. Do you know that I'm still discovering more? I'm still discovering more. Every day we're discovering more about ourselves. So purpose is, there's never going to be a day where you know it all. It's in stages, right? It's in what? It's in stages. It's stages. It's stage there. It's stage there, right? So don't get all frustrated if you don't know, right? If you don't get all bent out of shape because you don't know. And also don't rush the process. My mentor always says, the process is the new result. Many a time we want to jump the process, the fast food generation. No, it's not about rushing the process. It's about going through the process. Now, while you're going through the process, don't take people's labels. Don't embrace the labels that people put on you, right? Don't accept failure. Don't accept the opinion of others. Don't allow it to define you. You are created to do something. You are created with intentional. You have a life, and you are needed in the right here and now. See yourself as I am needed in the right here and now. And I'm going to end with this. Never ever be afraid of, what if I miss it? Even if you miss it, you can't miss God. Even if you miss it, God can't miss you. So don't get bent out of shape. Understand today that you are created with intention, and be excited that, wow, God had something in mind when he created me, and live your life trying to discover what that intention is. Don't live in fear. Don't live in intimidation. Don't live comparing yourself with others. Run your own race. Run your own race. Be happy at whatever capacity that God wants to use you. Don't be, if God has given you the gift of that can make people laugh, a comedian. Don't try to be a doctor because that's what everybody else is doing. No, you can be a successful, wealthy, a man or woman that impact the lives of people as a comedian. So I hope this helps. Understand you're created with intention. Let's go and become everything that God wants us to be. You are loved. You're accepted by God. God bless you. Please do me a favor. If you have not done so, like, share this video. Someone out there needs to hear what I just shared today. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. Stay warm, and we sign off. Bye for now.